I recently put together this pyro build mostly because I had a craving to play pyromancer again, and I hadn't in a long time. So this video will be a little longer as a collection of clips of this build and what I was able to do with it, what I wasn't able to do with it, what I would like from it, and the results of what I found. So the Sunbro wants to fight, but he's not swinging, so I just kind of walk into him. I kind of want to finish him off because I know that I'm not really going to get another chance, especially versus this mage. And this becomes a problem. But only for a second. I'm pretty desperate to heal because I don't want to get stuck in a situation where I'm getting plinked by spells and chased by a greatsword. But fortunately they back off a little bit. And this guy gets hit for a lot. They must be on New Game Plus or something because he lost 400 health from one swing of that guy. I see that this guy is Undead Hunter Charmed, and I'm like, well, let's just finish it up. Yeah, 409 from one hit of those knights. GG's. Not a lot of pyromancy went on there, but a win's a win. This invasion was pretty funny, and you'll see why. Whenever I get spawned in down here, I kind of assume they're either behind me or somewhere in front of me here. But usually it means they've gone up the elevator. Usually. Because if people are fighting through the PvE on those stairs, it'll usually spawn you in further back in the level. So if they'd only passed through here, then they probably took the elevator. I'm assuming that they're going to try to gank me off of the elevator, because that's what everyone does. But I have no real way of knowing for sure. As a side note, this elevator is stupidly long. I don't know why it's so different from the rest of the elevators. Probably something to do with how it loads the top part of the level versus the lower part of the level. But it's just so slow. Like, running to Dragon Slayer armor from the Dancer Bonfire is incredibly dumb and slow. And especially for here, it gives the people who are going to gank you an absurd time to react. But there's no way I'm running backwards through the level to get to where they're at. So I send it back down in case they want to escape. And I see that this guy is summoning. But the yellow was waiting off to the side for me. So they immediately start to gank me. And I'm ready to demolish this gold phantom. And the Sunbro manages to roll away, and I get pinned against a wall by his Vihander guy. And he's memeing with his Chameleon. Could you imagine using Chameleon in a spell slot in 2020? This guy's got a Wolf Knight Great Shield and Chameleon. Like, what is this? Granted, he's not wearing, like, a lot of armor, and I guard break him here, but I don't have time to react to it. He gets this hilarious backstab on me with Gale's Greatsword, and I realize that I'm out of Ashen Estus, and I'm, like, 1 health. I should have died there, but I'm so grateful that I didn't. I just kite them back across the way, accidentally try to use Black Flame, refill, get both of them to swing at the same time, and then get a pretty good turn and burn. And I realize that as I'm trying to finish this yellow, that the Greatsword host is being an extreme nuisance. But fortunately I pop his tears, and I throw a black firebomb, which is just fast enough to finish him off. And now I'm thinking that the host is going to try to fog wall run me, so I'm ready to go after him. But he doesn't. He's just guarding, because he wants to resummon, because he wants to beat me, because he wants to make me die, to show how much of an epic gamer he is. So in his greed, he doesn't fog wall run me, which I respect. Any other host would fog wall run me there. So he's guarding, and he's waiting for his Sunbro to drop the summon sign. I just know it. And I'm just trying to chase him down. If I had my hand axe, this would be a lot easier, but I don't have it. I'm waggling at him to try and to just show him that I really don't care. And he heals and gets this lag spike poise to protect him. I don't know if it's from an attempted blue summon or something, but he got some free poise there. So I switch over to my Dark Longsword and my Simple Cestus. And I know he's still looking for that summon sign, so I'm trying to put the pressure on to make it harder for him. I'm just hoping to regen enough that I can get back at another Black Flame and just get the combo off. I'm doing pretty good at punishing his Estus, so there's at least that. And then I stupidly swing into him here. But he hasn't been swinging this entire time. So I think it's completely fair that I went for it. Estus punish for 300. Estus punish again, 372. He actually swings again, which catches me off guard because he's playing extremely defensively, and then I finished the final 300 health. So putting on the pressure there probably prevented him from resummoning. But then again, due to the length of the elevator, that Sunbro probably would have had a long way to go before he was able to put a summon sign down again. At least if it sends you back to the bonfire. Continuing in the tradition of Lothric Castle invasions, I am AFK. But fortunately, these people are nowhere near my spawn point. So I'm looking around, I'm trying to find where this host is. I have no idea. I figure I could just go deep enough into the level where I could find him or not, but there's really no landmarks to show where they have or haven't been. So I basically just kind of have to poke around and look for them. There's no easy way to do this. It's just running and looking. Wish there was an item that, like, traced a line from where you were to where the host is to at least give you an idea of the direction that they're in, but there's nothing like that. So I see that there's a blue. I figure I could just start with that. And he gets me in a good roll catch chain here, but I reaction roll this one instead of getting stuck in it again. He switches to one-handed, which is probably better for me than if he were two-handing it. And I'm thinking that I could finish him off, but he's pretty latent. So I start staggering my R1s, hoping that I'll just get him. And I know that he's got a Cestus, so I'm a little wary of a parry coming out. I unfortunately got the tip of the curved sword there, so it didn't combo. Which is something I will do anyway. I'll, like, go for the Black Flame, even if they're out of range, because I think they're going to walk back into it. And it's kind of rare that that occurs. And now I see that there's a second blue on the way, so I'm really concerned. And now I get Undead Hunter Charmed, which sucks, but, like, not really the biggest deal. And they use a seed on me, which makes this infinitely harder. So I switch to the cat ring, thinking I'll drop off. And I do that. And then the blue follows me down, which is pretty good. Now I've got him alone, and I can continue my duel with him. So I catch him, and I'm thinking I should put more pressure on, and he stupidly buffs here. And I catch him with the Curved Sword R1 because he's latent. So I'm looking around thinking that the host might follow me, but he does not. And I'm ready to go back to deal with him. I don't really know why I take this long way around. Yeah, I'm having trouble navigating. But I didn't want to drop down too early because I was still seated for that 45 seconds or however long it was. So I'm taking my time, I'm sauntering back, I'm figuring that another blue will be on the way in a couple of minutes, so I have a bit of a time constraint on me. But I don't want to get stuck in a spot like this bonfire area fighting two opponents, because once again, if they corner you, it's just the end of things. So I run up after the host. I try to get a backstab on him, and I do. And I figure I could roll catch him from here. But Windblade's guy shows up. And I nail him for half his health. And I do not kill him with the combo, which is a shame, because it would have been great. And here is, unfortunately, the one instance where Fiery Surge would have come in handy if I were any faster with it, but I wasn't thinking about it as an option, and it got me killed. I don't really use a lot of Fire Surge in my gameplay, just across the board. It's very hard to use properly in an invasion because you need things that stagger, and you need things that do burst damage, and Fire Surge does neither. Fire Surge does absolutely no staggering, and it does the tiniest possible amount of damage that a pyromancy could do. So it's really only for that niche situation of roll catching someone who is at 1 health. Now I've got here what is presumably a Faith build, only because it's Tears of Denial and I'm at soul level 60, so I can only assume that they've invested points in Faith more than anything else. Unless it's some kind of hybrid, but who knows. Whatever they are, they're certainly not a strength build. So they have a rapier, which isn't really a big deal. If I get backstabbed, it'll be a big deal, but I don't think this person is going to backstab me. I don't think somebody with Tears of Denial and Chaos Bed Vestiges is going to backstab me. Only now am I realizing that this person is probably some kind of dedicated pyromancer as well, but everything about their build seems to suggest otherwise, because they have to have at least 22 attunement or something like that for the 4 slots. 2 for Chaos Bed Vestiges, 2 for the Tears of Denial, which is a huge investment of stats. So I guess all that they didn't put into health went into attunement. So I popped over to Pontiff, because why not? I like to stop by Pontiff every now and again. And this is an invasion where I have 2 co-invaders. And when you have 2 co-invaders, you start to think, okay, well, now I don't have to do as much work, right? I get this host down to like 1 health right off the bat. But the other 2 co-invaders are not anywhere to be found. Oh, well, the other co-invader is here. The other co-invader hadn't come in yet. And then I get nailed by this guy. And fortunately, this Aldrich comes by to help me out. This guy is not too bad. So then the yellow comes after me, and I try to stop him, and now this guy's throwing pyromancies, which is a nightmare. And I'm getting absolutely blundered by these 2 yellows. So I'm trying to get away. And I do manage to get away for just long enough, but now I'm getting ganked by these 2 together. 2 of them. And I see that the red's off in the distance, and I see that the Aldrich is here. And I'm trying to isolate one of them so that I can take the pressure off of the other 2. So I get the host alone here. And the host is mine, but the yellow comes back because he's not being occupied by somebody else. And then I get stun-locked. I get stun-locked by the slam hit of one of the greatswords, which combos into a hit from somebody else. Important thing about co-invading is that if there is a 3-man gank, you need to at least be able to do 3 separate 1v1s, or burst down one of the phantoms with 2 people. Otherwise, one of your co-invaders can get stun-locked pretty quick. So now I invade into a 2-man group. And this is slightly easier, and slightly more manageable. I would rather fight 2 people by myself than 3 people with 2 co-invaders. I just try to saunter up and black flame this guy, but it's too slow. He's able to roll away just in time. And now it's a full-on invasion. I actually get this guy with the Black Flame combo, which is nice. It'll do about half of somebody's health at this soul level. It's decent enough. And a half health burst is good if you can chase them down and get it again. So I get them to aggro this guy that they haven't taken out yet, which is helpful, because it means that I can blender into this Phantom with very little repercussions. So I start to chase him down because I don't want him to heal. Or I want to at least be able to punish the heal if he does it. And I absolutely mess it up. At this point, I'm basically out of FP. But that's okay, because I still have my trusty rapier. And also, the blessing of the game. So now this does kind of become a 1v2. And it doesn't really matter, because all I have to do is chase down the host. The Aldrich does show up at some point, I think. But unfortunately, I run out of FP here. Yeah, he runs after this guy. And then I'm getting R1 running attacked, which is really just fabulous. And I'm still going for the combo as if I have the FP to do it. And then someone just takes care of the host while I'm taking care of the White Phantom. Now, this was kind of a gank, so I guess it doesn't count, but win's a win. So I see that there's a yellow and an Aldrich already here. And this guy doesn't have any poise. One-handed greatsword poise is hard enough to come by, so I could understand being able to interrupt that. So I'm just kind of unrelentingly driving into the host. And then this frickin' Aldrich comes over to me and hits me while I'm about to finish off the host, instead of just occupying the yellow. Honestly, just occupying phantoms and hosts is good enough. You should all be able to individually do your duels with the respective people that you're fighting. Like, this isn't the arena. There's friendly fire. I don't want you coming over here and swinging your curved sword at me while I'm trying to do something. Now, we do get better at spacing around each other, but it's a slow process. And then I'm coming back over here to try and take the heat off of him. Because if you can deal with one opponent, then you can usually get away from them and heal. But here, this guy heals and falls into an R1 and then just a raw Black Flame. And then I accidentally think that he's going to come towards me, so I throw out another Black Flame. But he doesn't. He just backs off and heals, so he's back to normal health, more or less. I find that the R1 and then trying to catch the roll with the Black Flame works every now and again. So I get a backstab on the host, and I'm thinking, okay, now's the time for Fire Surge. If ever there's a time for Fire Surge, it's now. So I'm just going to run after the host and spam Fire Surge once I get in range. And there's really nothing he can do about it, because he's going to get hit. Good games, Aldrich. I wish I had gone a little smoother. So now we're up above in this area, which is an area I especially like. Only because the Silver Knights are just pressuring enough that you can usually edge out a win even if you don't deserve it. Dedicated ganks usually fare better, but when don't they? So I don't even have the, I don't think I even have the Obscuring Ring on here. I'm just, I'm just ready to fight them. But I see that there are 3 of them, and that, to me, is a big red flag. Because me fighting 3 opponents alone is not the same as fighting 2 opponents alone. And now we see that Haddo's Corp has invaded, who is a friend of mine from the video I did in Irithyll Dungeon. And this guy I know is a very solid co-invader. I know that he is able to take care of himself, and that I won't have to watch his back, really. I won't have to babysit him. He can handle himself very well. So all I have to do is isolate 1 or 2 of the phantoms, and he'll be fine. So I accidentally swing into him here, but I get this phantom pretty low. So I'm running after him to take care of him. And my co-invader is fabulous, so he finishes him off. And then I accidentally run into him. So I drop down to let him take care of his pressure that he's dealing with. So I switch in, and I take this hit for him so that he can back off and heal. And now I'm ready to fight these guys alone. So I just kind of heal up, and we switch back again, which is pretty smart. He just kind of runs in when I need to heal, and I ran in when he did. So I'm chasing down this white phantom to take pressure off of him. And I get the Black Flame combo on him, which means he has to back off and heal. There's a lot of backing off and healing. It's all about the pressure. So this guy is trying to use a great bow. What the heck? So I run up and I just walk up and backstab him. There's nothing he could have done there. And then he has his, what is that? The shottle? I finish him off in 3 hits because he's just content to R1 swing into me. And if he wants to do that, then he can do it. And then just as I do that, Haddo's Corp finishes off the other phantom right on the other side. Beautifully done. GG's.